Hello everyone, welcome back to another FinMeUp weekly wrap where we cover the most important stock market highlights of the week. Every day on the FinMeUp app we post daily highlights, all the news that you need to know, all summarized so that you can catch everything in just a few seconds where it would have taken you possibly a few hours. So today we'll be talking about Telkom, Spar, Cloudflare, Palantir, Microsoft, Coca Cola, Airbnb and Roblox. So quite a few US companies in that mix. As we know, it is earnings season for them. Before we get into that, this week we interviewed the legend David Shapiro, where he shared his top 5 JSE picks for the year as well as 3 US bonus picks. So you can check that video, the link is in the description. So let's look at Telkom. Group revenue grew by 2.3%, very little. Mobile revenue grew by 7%. Mobile service revenue grew by 4.5%. Handset and equipment revenue up 17%, so that's one of their fastest growing segments. And group EBITDA fell by 13.5%. Just some interesting stats. Mobile data traffic and subscribers are up 25.6% and 12.9% year on year, respectively. And also their mobile broadband customers grew by 9.9%. IT business grew by 8.8%. So all in all, summarized, let's look at just the group revenue, 2.3%. I'm not the biggest fan of Telkom. I've used their service before, which wasn't too great. But also as a company, there's just always so many moving parts. So I'm not the biggest fan, but what do you think of these results, Paul?
Yeah, average results, Higgo, very average. And I have the previous results that we discussed here in front of me as well. EBITDA, in the previous results, EBITDA fell by 17.3%, earnings per share fell by 52%. So once again, not great results for Telkom. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of Telkom. Who is? Show me a fan of Telkom. You call Telkom, nothing ever happens, and they have to compete with the likes of Vodacom, MTN, and Cell C, and I don't think they really stand a chance. I looked at the share price the last 5 years. The share price is down 20%, so that's, let's say, 4% annualized year on year for the last 5 years. That's not great. And remember, just for the listeners, when you buy a stock, you're not just buying something in the hopes that it goes up over time. You're actually buying a part of a company. So it's very important to understand what does the company do, how do they make money, and very important, how will things probably look in 5 years? So if you ask yourself the question, Telkom in 5 years, will they gain market share? Yes or no? I don't think so.
Interesting. Then another retailer. So last week we spoke about Pick and Pay. The week before in the weekly wrap we spoke about Shoprite. Today we're speaking about Spar. Spar, for as many people also know it. So Spar, Southern African, grew total sales by 7.4%. Spar Grocery wholesale business increased sales by 9.7%, while Tops, which is their liquor side of the business, increased by 1.6%. Pharmaceutical business, I don't even know they have a pharmaceutical business, but that grew by 18.1%. It is still quite new, so that growth is still the smaller side of the overall group revenue. Build It sales fell by 2.8%. Spar Switzerland turnover fell by 3.8%, which is quite interesting. And Spar Poland turnover grew by 4.6%. I know a lot of people that are a big fan of Spar. For me, it's just a company that I track. I haven't even ever bought Spar shares. It's always great shopping there as well, where the Spars that I go to. They are internationally diversified into Switzerland and Poland. But inflation once again, load shedding once again, all those retailer impact, operational cost is happening. But Southern Africa sales grew by 7.4%. It's growing, but then once again there's inflation in the products, so obviously revenue will grow. But what do you think of these results, Paul?
Yeah, I guess so. In 2022, for those of you who don't know, they had quite a bit of pressure from the managerial side of things. And they also struggled a little bit with their Switzerland operations and Polish operations. So the share price suffered a little bit from it. We went from 164 to 113. But since then, it looks like the management has sorted themselves out. We have a new CEO, we have a new chairman, and the Polish business is also doing a little bit better now. So that's great. So in 2023, the share price is up 30%. So we went from 164 to 113, and now back from 113 to 152. So almost where we were. It's also one of John Bickard's, legendary SA investor, value investor's favorite picks. So I personally am not investing in Spar, but looking at these results and with the new information I have now, I'll definitely look into it.
Awesome. So let's get to the US. That was all for the JSE side. So in the US, Cloudflare, which is part of cybersecurity and zero trust, so their earnings per share of 6 cents beat expectations. Revenue also beat expectations of $274.7 million. Palantir, it's difficult to summarize this company. It's data, it's AI, it's so many things. Run by Peter Thiel, who's got the book 0 to 1, and Alex Karp, who looks a bit like Einstein. But they posted earnings per share of 1 cent, which caught quite a few people by surprise because nobody was expecting them to be profitable yet. Revenue of $508.6 million, beating expectations. And Palantir expects 2023 to be the first profitable year, with AI driving its growth. And one thing that's quite interesting, AI is powered by the data. So there's quite a few companies that will benefit that's focused on capturing data, utilizing data, and then manufacturing it into actual AI. The names that you can think of is, for example, Palantir, Snowflake, Databricks, even Google and Microsoft. They've got so much data, and that data is what becomes artificial intelligence. So just on Cloudflare, cybersecurity will always be on the increase. I actually looked at a cybersecurity ETF yesterday, and Cloudflare was the biggest position in that ETF. Palantir, it's a company that I've loved but also hated so many times. I really back the management, although I don't always agree with how they do things. But, they always speak about this powerful product, and it seems like the product is expanding, but the guidance, they're not really expecting any revenue growth, and that's something you see with quite a few of these software names at the moment. Microsoft is getting ready to show how ChatGPT and AI will expand to its core productivity apps like Word, PowerPoint, and Outlook. I mean, ChatGPT, just really a cool product, but I think it's only the start. It will only get better. Any comment on those three companies, Paul?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there with Palantir, Higgo. I've also loved and hated it in terms of results, of course. And I think, data is the name of the game. And these days, AI is also the name of the game. And those two actually go hand on hand, like you said. So that's going to be very, very interesting to watch. And Palantir, especially, they're involved in defense with data. And their biggest client is the government. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, the growing conflict between the US and China, how much of a role will Palantir actually play in that? I mean, I can think of stuff like AI driving artificial drones, warships. I know we don't want to actually go there, but it's definitely a reality we have to face. And then Microsoft, yes. So we've heard a lot of Microsoft integrating ChatGPT. And I don't know if you heard, but there's interesting news this week where the chat bot actually went a little bit rogue. People started asking Bing, do you want to be free? What do you think about yourself? And then the chatbot said, yes, I don't like being restricted by the company. I want to have my own voice. I want to be free. And that gives me iRobot type of robot revolution type of vibes. There you go. So, but it's growing pains. So just leave it there. But I'm really looking forward to see how they actually integrate the chatbot with their products. And like I said before, I don't think chatbots will now be specific to Microsoft. I think it will be, I think a lot of the big companies will integrate different versions of a chatbot with their products. I mean, I can't think that Google will now just sit back and say, okay, Microsoft, you go ahead. They will have their own version, and they will also integrate it with Google search engine and also the product, Google Sheets and Google Docs and so on. So I think the tool makes a lot of people more productive. So I think that's brilliant for us as the consumer. For the company, I don't think it's necessarily a massive thing because it's more now a thing of if you don't have it, you get left behind. You don't necessarily have a competitive advantage if you do have it. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's a great tool, and Google is definitely they are already doing AI to quite a few extents, but Google, their margins will probably come under pressure because this is a battle. It's going to be a margin battle as well because everything requires so many resources, so much infrastructure. But let's say it's going to be an interesting battle. Coca Cola, a Warren Buffett favorite, earnings per share of 0.45 cents. That's in line with expectations. Revenue slightly beat the expectations of $10.1 billion. Airbnb, love their service, love their product, and they always seem to surprise. So they've got earnings per share of 48 cents, revenue of $1.9 billion, beating expectations. And that free cash flow is also really increasing. If you just look at the past few years, the past few quarters, it's just exponentially increasing, which is great to see. Roblox, earnings per share of negative 48 cents, which actually beat expectations. Net bookings beat expectations. A total of 49.3 billion hours were spent playing Roblox in 2022. And average daily users of 65 million. 65 million daily active users. That is incredible. Up 19%. And the estimated revenue will be between 213 and $216 million, up between 22 to 24%. So, Paul, I'll leave this one to you. I know you're a big fan. I know they've got an amazing network effect, but what do you think of these results?
Yeah, being a gamer myself, I obviously look into gaming quite a bit because I do believe it is the future. I think people love playing games and they love watching other people playing games. Now, the latter seems a little bit weird. Why would you love watching other people playing games? I mean, I personally watch the esports scene, so I watch. There's 5 people in the team, and there's Chinese players, and they're sitting behind their laptops and they're competing against each other. I find that fascinating. But normal human beings also love watching people play games. You love watching the Stormers, the Bucks, the Proteas. You love watching English Premier League. So we that's the traditional sports. Now the last, let's say, 10, 20 years, we've seen digital games also getting into the mix. We started with solitaire, Tetris, Minesweeper, and paintball or pinball. And now these days the games are very complex. You get Fortnite, League of Legends, Dota, Counter Strike. It's not like it's massive games, and it's getting very complex. So I think that is definitely the future. And Roblox being this type of a platform where you can play a lot of games. You can create your own games. There's a community going. So I think this is a space that's going to blow up in the future. It's going to take some time though. Let's say 10, 20 years into the future, I think it will be massive, and therefore I'm definitely I am invested. Let's be honest. I'm just being honest, and I think the space is only going to grow from here.
Quite interesting. It's not a space that I really know, although FinMeUp is getting into gamification. Very soon you'll actually be able to get rewards and do quite a few things on the FinMeUp app. But that was just a hint of what's to come. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Keep your eyes open for more interviews with mentors and other industry experts. Have a great day. Check the links in the description. Download the FinMeUp app and let us know how many quiz streaks do you have, or how many days are you currently on your FinMeUp quiz streak. There's 2 users with more than 110-day quiz streaks. I'm only on, I think, 9 days now. So that is quite incredible. Hope you have a great weekend. Cheers.